So, because this month is getting extra crazy for me with all the planning and everything for all the other things that I'm doing, and also the trip to the EGX convention at the end of the month, the next set of videos for the next 4, possibly 5 weeks are going to be, I guess I'd classify them as hidden gems, but I think one probably isn't, but I'm going to classify it is because it's getting, or it should have got a sequel, or I'll explain it when we get to it, don't worry. But the first is actually going off last week's video, and about video games based off movies, and it's a game that I only picked up a couple of years back, and it's a shame that I did. I vaguely remember playing the demo of this at an electrical store, probably when it came out, which was, looking at the box, that is no clue, because it doesn't have a date on it. This is useful. This is already a great start to this video. I think it's like 98, 99. It doesn't even say, so that's sort of useful. Anyway, the game in question is A Bug's Life. Look, that doesn't need to... Oh. Well, you can see how fun I love this game because the disc isn't even in here. It is still in my PlayStation 2. Right. Oh, there you go. There you go. Bug's Life. Yep, it's there as well because PC. Also, it was damn cheap, which is a shame because in terms of, if you look at video game tie-ins for the children, obviously I brought up plenty of ones like Shark Tale, and to be quite honest, quite a lot of stuff that THQ brought out in its latter stages, like all the Disney tie-ins really. I know the Bolt was THQ, but certainly that wasn't very good. I can't think of many off the top of my head, mainly because they were probably that not memorable. Certainly with other franchises, I think Rise of the Guardians had one on the Wii, The Croods, Wreck-It Ralph, notoriously known for not being that good. But that's mainly, I feel, because most of it was done third-party style. It was done with the license, but not really done from them. The ones that have been arguably really good have been the ones that have been done in-house. Aladdin and Nazira's Revenge. That was a well-liked game, at least from the fan base. I can't remember on the review terms. Certainly as well Atlantis the Lost Empire. That is a really fun sort of action-adventure style game, which, you know, it chronicles the film, but also it makes it interactive for the children, and it's fun even for an adult, because I think certainly at some bits for Atlantis, it gets a bit tough, I think, for children to possibly work out. But in the shape of A Bug's Life, the key thing to note here is not only that it was Disney Interactive, but that little company in the corner. Don't know whether I can. Might be easier to show up on that because it isn't as glossy. Traveller's Tales. Traveller's Tales, who eventually went on to do. I think they developed the Crash Bandicoot games for a bit after. Certainly, they did Wrath of Cortex, which actually wasn't that bad a game. Got hated on because it wasn't Naughty Dog, I guess. But it wasn't that bad a game. And of course, Traveller's Tales now do a little franchise known as Lego games. You know, the Lego Movie, video game, Lego Batman, Lego DC, Lego Star Wars, Lego Marvel, Lego Hobbit, Lego Lord of the Rings, Lego Indiana Jones. Pretty much everything that they've done has been really accessible and fun for children. And to some extent, I would say, not with my basic knowledge, this certainly, in terms of playing it, I would say is where this possibly all started. Looking at the reviews at the time when the thing came out, there was quite a lot saying, "Oh, this is just a movie cash-in with not that much heart. You know, it's not got great gameplay, and you know, it just overall isn't appealing." It's amazing then that what 15 years on, let's say, from the game being out, it's still on the PlayStation Store, both in America and Europe. I wouldn't have thought it'd have been there if it was bad and, you know, was not garnered with a lot of praise. And games like Atlantis: The Lost Empire and Aladdin and Zira's Revenge, which were also good, they aren't there, but Bugs Life is. And I don't think it's because Disney and Pixar wanted it. I think it's because, you know, as it being a Sony published game anyway, I don't think it is outright, because obviously that's Disney Studios and whatever. And there were various cancelled ports, I think, for the Sega Saturn and possibly the Dreamcast. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it only came out for the Nintendo Game Boy Color, which was developed by THQ and was a completely different studio. And then I think it was the N64 as well as the PlayStation and the PC. And those three were pretty much exactly the same essence. The game itself is actually fun. You know, in terms of the reviews at the time, when you look back on some of the arguable shovelware related to movie tie-ins that we've had over recent years, I would say that this still pretty much stands up today as a fun game that people can pick up and play. It's occasionally hard at times, and I would see why young children would struggle, but I don't mind. You know, I've completed this game, at least in the last couple of years, I'd say about 4 or 5 times, and just to refresh myself on it, I replayed it in full and sat out and did it in about 6 or 7 hours, give or take. You know, not really, sort of grinding to the 100%, getting all the hidden bonuses and everything, of which it isn't very well known on the gaming sites. It sort of is relatively obscure, but basically one of the hidden levels you have to bounce on 5 enemies in a consecutive consecutive order without being hit. The second one is you basically throw 15 blueberries at 5 enemies in order to trigger it, which is most easily done on the tunnel stage, which is the second stage. And then there is also, you can unlock the final hidden level by, I'm trying to think, jumping on 5 mushrooms in a row, because, well, the gameplay. So, if you know the story of a Bug's Life movie, you sort of know the game in terms of its story. In terms of gameplay, there's like seeds that you can jump on, which can either turn into bouncy mushrooms or things to aid you moving to unreachable platforms, so like dandelion clocks, wind generating plants. If you upgrade it to the fullest, you can make it become like a sort of a cannon sort of thing, firing you into the air. Then there's ones which can aid you in getting berries if you collect certain tokens. There's also ones that I'm just trying to think. Things that items, there's like an item sort of berry, so you can either get short invincibility, restore some of your health, create a bubble shield, or the ultimate is the super jump, which you get and keep for the entire level. Then you've got the yellow ones, which sort of are cannons, which can aid you in certain aspects. And then the green ones create platforms that you can, of various sizes, that you can jump up, which again scale to how many tokens you get in relation to the device, or the type of seed that you color or whatever. And this goes on for 15 levels and 1 training level, because actually on the training level you can get access to one of the secret levels, which is sort of ridiculous. But anyway, after every 3rd level in that series of 15, you get a boss fight. The first one is Thumper, who you meet early on in the film, obviously. The second one is, I believe, the Bird, which is the plot point to the whole thing. The third one is like some big giant fly, which is only like a minor character in the game, but is somehow expanded into a huge boss or something. Then the 12th one, from what I remember, is Molt, which is Hopper's brother, and then Hopper himself in the final battle for the last level. And it incorporates the clips in before and afterwards for rewards. And there's various things you can do to help yourself. So if you collect, there's pieces of grain all over the level. If you collect 50, you get, I think, an extra life. If you collect the letters Flick around the level, you increase your health to maximum. And then there's also, I'm trying to think, if you kill all the enemies, you get a bonus as well. If you destroy all them. I can't remember what they are entirely, but yeah, there's rewards you get, and then you unlock clips and things like that. So it's certainly accessible to all, I would say, and it's still fun to play today. There are criticisms. Sometimes it is a case, in order for you to try and get everything, you're going to have to backtrack quite a bit, because you can only get the gold berry in certain points so far into your game access. So you'll have to backtrack all the way to the beginning to destroy enemies at the start before you can actually get to the end and get the 100% finish or whatever on that level. Which, that is a drawback. Also, the pace of the thing, there isn't really a sort of sprint. Certainly in these days and age, it's really there's got to be a sprint button rather than just, move the analog stick to run forward. And, that aspect isn't really good, but the one place that I really want to praise it is, although it doesn't look perfect at some points, I wouldn't say the graphics, but certainly the appearance of the levels and the world that you're in is pretty nice. It's pretty beautiful. If you manage to create a next-gen version of it, arguably people have. It's called Flow or Flower or those sort of games that are on the PlayStation 3. If you did it with next-gen graphics, it would look pretty damn impressive. The other thing as well is it probably looked like a Pixar film more than, because obviously you're getting Pixar-style graphics on a next-gen console than you were with something as simple as a PS1 or early PC stuff from... I'm actually going to have a quick look at this to see if it's got a date on the back of here to try and help me. 99, there we go. So we are talking 15 years. and 15 years just got smashed. Anyway, but the other aspect that I think is sometimes lacking in certain games, not so much now, but certainly at the time, was voice acting and also the soundtrack. The voice acting in this game, if you have a look, because the credits are there, quite a lot of the people that are in the game are the same people that voiced the characters in the movie. So Flick is voiced by Dave Foley. Mr. Soil, the old wise guide in the training level, is voiced by Roddy McDowall, and apparently this was the very last thing that Roddy McDowall did before he passed away. Him of Planet of the Apes series fame and all that. Hayden Panettiere, before she did Heroes, voiced Dot in the film and her in the game. David Hyde Pierce from Frasier and all that, he voiced Slim the Stick Insect. Heimlich was voiced by the same character. Rosie, Dim, Gypsy, Tuck and Roll, Malt. They were all voiced. The only difference was they obviously couldn't get Kevin Spacey. But instead, you had the co-director of the movie, Andrew Stanton, to do it instead. Which, I don't object. That seems pretty cool to me. And, it's a fun game. I cannot, fun is the most I can really say about it. Even to this day, it is still more fun than sometimes going into laborious, games like, I'm trying to think. Sometimes there's games where it just feels like I don't want to pick it up, but I guess I have to because, I want to play it. This one, I really love, just taking a step back and saying, yeah, I want to play this again because it's actually fun. Probably it will get to the point when I'll go, okay, I've sort of had my fun from it now. And that's maybe because I'm catching it on, because I didn't play it as I did at the time. But, another game that actually I could have brought up, but I didn't want to, in terms of fun games as well, is Finding Nemo. It's actually, once again, it's fun and accessible. I don't know whether it's because these are all Pixar films. Because it seems like the Pixar games are normally pretty good. The Incredibles one was pretty good. The Toy Story ones are pretty damn good. Bug's Life is. I don't know whether, no, you see, once it got to Cars, then it sort of fell off. But that's because, the movie didn't appeal to everybody either. But anyway, it seemed like the actual Pixar games are also treated with the same amount of respect as the films are. Which is a shame because that can't be said for quite a lot of things. That as much as I enjoy the Frozen movie, reskinning Candy Crush Saga and basically having it as a Frozen tie-in doesn't to me classify as development of a game. Okay, they sort of made it up with downloadable content and all that for Disney Infinity, but that wasn't a specific game like Bug's Life was. So, yeah, if you haven't got it, you might be able to find it pre-owned like I did a few years back on various, sites or shops, wherever you are. Certainly, as I say, it came out, this version that I played is PC, N64, and the original PlayStation, the PSX, whatever you want to call it. And it's on the PlayStation Network, on the PlayStation 3. So, I'd say go check it out if you want to give the kids something fun to play. Give them this, because if they keep playing Call of Duty, they'll just start swearing. Let's be honest. Anyway, next up, I don't know where I'm going to go, but certainly it's going to be in a genre this time for the next video that I think is pretty unique. I'm not sure which one I'm going to come up with, because I've got at least 2, possibly even 3, that are a bit quirky. So you'll find out what that is next week. All I'll say, it's either going to involve a ball, a square, or Japan, or a combination of all those 3. Because I've just realised all 3 are Japanese. So I guess that could be a quirky thing. So I don't know what it'll be, but yeah, Bugs Life is awesome. I'm going to tell you what also is awesome and what you should try and find if you can next week.